You know, what up, world? Big Proud Prophet Jewel today. This one today is about decolonizing our minds. Now, let me break it down. What do I mean by a colonized mind? Well, this used to be a European colony, but we're still immersed in European culture at every single level. So, how do we decolonize, and why should we decolonize? Okay. Well, first let's look at what's European in our society right now. I'm speaking English. The words you know and the words in your vocabulary is how you think. The words and images, you think in words and images. So my thoughts are influenced by European culture. They are European culture, whether I like it or not. Our religion is European. Our food is European. The way we eat is European. The way we understand the world is European. Our education system is European. Our political system is European. Our judicial system is European. Everything we do is European. They have, and the way they treated the world is what's such a superiority complex. They look down at every other culture. You gotta understand, we gotta understand history so we understand where we're at right now. Who was it that came to your land, said you were a savage, and then acted like a savage to you? Who was it that came to your land, said you were uncivilized, and act uncivilized to you? Who was it that exploited every resource until the world is tapped out, until how many animals went extinct? Who was it? Who was it that told you that animals can't feel or think? Who was it that objectifies everything? Treats everything like an object that they could just dispose and throw away? Who was it that gave you individualism, that made you think with an ego? Who was it that makes you think that only other Europeans is the only way, like they know what's right, they know the only way to do it? Who's making all the animals go extinct? Who's making all the trees? Who's destroying nature? Who treated nature like a commodity? Who's treating people like a commodity? Who's treating culture like a commodity? Who's the one that exploits? Who's the one that came to your land, try to make you assimilate to their culture? Who's the one that stole everything from you, stole your history, try to make you in their image? Who told you that you weren't beautiful? Who told you you were ugly? Told you were dumb? Told you were inferior? Who told you that? Who looked at your degree and your knowledge and your intellect and said that it's not worth anything in this society, so you have to go through our system? Who said your degree is not worthy here? Who has that superiority complex? The audacity of this European culture, the audacity of this mentality and this ideology. Like, don't you see how everything is hypocritical? How immoral they are? This whole system, like everything they do is based in immorality, dishonesty, and greed. I mean, this is their culture. This is how they this is how they shape the world. And you wonder why we all do this thing now. Because this is a system that breeds these qualities. So we must get rid of it. I mean, like, why do you think they're still in power? Why do you think they still have dominance over this society? Because they could shape this society to remain dominant over everybody else. You understand? So that's why we have to decolonize our minds. We have to embrace our culture, understand and embrace a different way of looking at the world. Understand and embrace a different perspective, because their perspective will only keep them dominant and us believing that we're inferior, and we really buy into it. Now let me get back to the objectification. They treat everything like an object, and you out here treating your people, your loved ones, like an object. I mean, that's why we need to decolonize our mind. There's no morality or spiritual depth to it, to this mentality, this colonized mind, this European mindset. There's no spirituality. They don't understand that. This culture they gave us, they don't have it. They're just trying to squander the world for what it is. Like they come up and treat Native Americans like they called them savages, and then destroy the world, destroy nature itself, and make animals go extinct. They don't try to act in balance with the environment, with the ecosystem. They came up here in a few hundred years, destroyed everything, wasted everything. So obviously the Native Americans, they was able to live on this land and live in harmony with the ecosystem for thousands of years. So that's a problem. That's a problem. They fooled you into thinking that you were wrong, but they were wrong the whole time. So we gotta realize that, and we gotta give up their ways, these corrupt ways, these immoral ways. Now, I deviated from the point about objectification, but the object, they treat everything like an object. They confuse you into treating everybody and everything like an object. You understand why we have so many problems in this day and age? It's because we treat one another like an object. Like I've seen the uproar about this movie Cuties, right? And I'm glad that people are angry about this topic and saying save the children. We should be saying save the children. But we got to understand, if we really want to save the children, then we got to decolonize our minds and escape from this mentality that's breeding the problem in the first place, and that's objectification. If we look at women like objects, their body parts like objects that we could just have our way with and cast away, just throw away, then what's stopping people from looking at younger women or children the same way? They treat them like objects that they can just cast away, and people don't care. We gotta reconnect with our spirituality and treat things and people like sacred. We have to protect it, but we have to protect our mind, our spirituality, and our hearts. So we have to get away from that's the cause of all that bullshit, all that barbaric bullshit. And let's face it, they were barbarians, and they still act like barbarians. They don't have no morality. They act immoral. So show me different. Show me different. I mean, the people in power still act the same way, and they keep acting immature, and they only do what they keep doing what they think they could get away with. We gotta get rid of their ways. We gotta stop adopting their ways, and we gotta relearn ourselves. We gotta unlearn their bullshit and relearn what we believe is right. We gotta reclaim righteousness. That's what this is about. That's what we're at right now. We're at a pivot point in history. Now, do you want to go with them? Keep going with their ways and squander everything for this illusion of superiority? When, like, I don't care. Like, all the money in the world means nothing, yo. Why? Like, with their idea of success, like, it has no fulfillment. You hear that story where everybody's like, oh, well, I'm so successful, I get all this money, I'm at the top of the business world, but I feel empty inside. That's because you have no spiritual sense. You have, like, there's nothing inside of you. You haven't done anything. Like this, you treat everything like an object. You treat life like a game. And you think you're winning, but you're not. How many people have been left in your wake because you're trying to win this game? It's not a fucking game. We gotta do what's right. We ain't no fucking kids, so we gotta be grown. Like, I'm sick and tired. I see these politicians, see these business people, these quote unquote intellectuals trying to justify this lack of morality because they want to remain immature. They don't want to hold themselves accountable. They don't have any moral integrity. I look at these corporations that exploited resources from nations, what they now call third world nations, third world countries, but they have all the natural resources, but they're only third world countries because you try to tap them dry of this and you exploit the people, and then you leave them like with nothing, absolutely nothing. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but we gotta see it for what it is. We got to see it for what it is, and we gotta open our eyes. And I'm sick of the bullshit, you know. I'm sick of the bullshit. We gotta grow the fuck up. Gotta stop objectifying one another. We gotta hold ourselves more accountable. Hold these people more accountable. Stop playing their games. Stop trying to assimilate to their bullshit. You see them corrupt. We gotta fight for our righteous minds. I mean, we gotta decolonize our minds. Because, like, obviously what they're doing doesn't work. None of this shit works. None of this shit, all the shit I listed, none of it works. So we gotta end it. And we gotta rebuild.